Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Anchor TV News. My name is Elisha Kay Aldrich, and tonight I'll be giving you an update on last week's news, from here at Rick all the way up to the national level. Jared Ware will provide the latest sports info, including how our boys on the Red Sox are doing in the World Series, and Brett Poirier will give an update for everyone on this week's entertainment gossip. In national news, the National Security Administration scandal continues. According to the Associated Press and other major media outlets all over the country, President Obama was unaware of how far the NSA was going to obtain information. Not only were they tapping in on American phones, but those of world leaders as well. 35 of them to be exact. One of them is German Chancellor Angela Merkel, who is outraged at the invasion of her privacy. President Obama has apologized and has also stated that if he knew exactly how many allies had been spied on, he would have ordered them to stop. Spain and France are also among the American allies whose cell phones have been tapped. While it is reassuring that the president has been open about the subject, the question of why he didn't know what the administration was doing still remains. It has been a year after Hurricane Sandy, and while Rhode Islanders were spared the least of its wrath, many are still trying to rebuild the damage the storm caused. Luckily, much of the damaged houses in South County were vacation homes, but that did not save the other residents and public officials. The National Flood Insurance Program has paid out nearly $35 million in property damage claims, and the Federal Emergency Management Agency has approved $6.6 million to repair public infrastructure. FEMA will also be giving over $420,000 to assist residents as well. Restoring the shoreline was another concern of Rhode Island officials, but thanks to the help of first responders, many beaches were up and running by the springtime. A pedestrian was struck on the Pawtucket sections of 195 South and killed while crossing the interstate. The call came in at about 4:40 a.m. that a man in dark clothing was hit by a car near Smithfield Avenue. The pedestrian was reported to have been struck by one car and then was flung into the first lane, where he was then struck again. He was pronounced dead at the scene. This is the third time in 2 months someone has been struck on the interstate. A Massachusetts man has been charged with several crimes, including sex trafficking of a minor and sexual assault. He brought 2 girls to Rhode Island and forced them to have sex. The man, Anthony Pledger, 26, of Dorchester, offered to pay the girls in clothing in exchange for sex with the people he set them up with. When they refused, Pledger refused to bring them home. Pledger and Emma Shower, the owner of the apartment where he was hiding out, were both arrested and are currently being held at the ACI. The teens were both released to their parents. Meanwhile, in Canada, 3 hunters are in trouble with a local tribe for killing an albino moose in Belcote, Nova Scotia. The men posted images of their kill on social media. Now, it should be noted that this kill was not illegal. They had every legal right to hunt this animal, as it is not endangered, just rare. However, the Mi'kmaq tribe, local to Nova Scotia where the albino moose was taken down, believes that the albino moose are their ancestors who have come down to warn their people of future dangers. So an argument ensued where the hunters were threatened and harassed. They, in return, took down their pictures and returned the body to the tribe so they could perform a 3-day ritual with the body. They all hoped that this was a learning experience for everyone in the future. East Valley High School teacher Robbie Robinson is in the news for losing a bet to his students. In the bet, he had to dye his hair bright pink for breast cancer awareness. His bet included the students beating the school's fundraising goals for their breast cancer event, and after they did, he responded by converting his hair and beard from white to pink. Robbie Robinson said of his act, "I believe that kids are the keys to success. I believe that they will make the changes that are necessary for the future, and everything I can do to convince them, make them interested in school, and make them try harder, I'm willing to do as an educator." That wraps up this week's news, so now let's throw it to Jared for some sports.
Let's jump right into the sports update and head to the heart of the Midwest for the World Series news and just a couple of ho-hum games over the weekend. Game 3 Saturday ended with a run-of-the-mill obstruction call, which handed the Cardinals a 2-1 series lead. Game 4 ended with Koji Uehara picking off pinch runner Colton Wong, knotting the series back up at 2 games apiece. Who said playoff baseball wasn't crazy? Last night's hero for the Sox was Johnny Gomes, who was only inserted into the starting 9 due to a last-minute injury to Shane Victorino. Before his 6th inning at-bat, Gomes was 0 for 9 in the series, but like a litany of Sox before him this postseason, he busted his slump with a crucial contribution. One swing and 367 feet later, the Sox were ahead for good in the game, 4-1, and Gomes was off the schneid. Game 5 will see a rematch of the Game 1 starters, John Lester and Adam Wainwright. Lester edged out Wainwright 8-1 the last time out, and he will look to move the Sox ahead in the series once again. The last time the New England Patriots lost 2 straight games in the AFC East was in 2006, when they lost back-to-back conference games to the New York Jets and Miami Dolphins. On Sunday, it looked like history was going to repeat itself. A lifeless first-half performance had the Pats staring down the barrel of a 17-3 deficit and sent them to the locker room under a chorus of boos from the Foxborough crowd. 30 minutes and 24 unanswered points later, order was restored and New England solidified its post atop of the division. Brandon Bolden and Stephen Ridley both scored on short plunges, and young Buck receiver Aaron Dobson reeled in a 14-yard strike from Tom Brady to lock down the 27-17 win. Dobson wasn't the only rook to impress, as fellow 2013 draftee Logan Ryan, who was benched for the first 2 quarters after drawing a fine for his touchdown celebration last week against the Jets, was responsible for 2 of the 6 Patriot sacks of Dolphin signal call Ryan Tannehill. The Pats will hunt down win number 7 on the year next Sunday as they host the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are coming off a 21-18 loss at Oakland this past weekend. But the Patriots won't be the only team getting ready for a matchup this weekend inside Gillette Stadium. The New England Revolution clinched a spot in the Major League Soccer Cup playoffs for the first time since 2009 with a 1-0 win over the Columbus Crew in the season finale. The crucial goal came off the boots of Juan Agudelo in the 28th minute. Goalkeeper Matt Reese and the entire Revs back line was tested for the final 70-plus minutes, but stood strong to claim a clean sheet and a spot in the postseason. The Revs host Sporting Kansas City on Saturday, November 2nd in the first leg of the MLS Eastern Conference Finals. The return fixture will be played in Kansas City the following week. And in Rick Sports news, we'd like to congratulate the women's tennis team on a tremendous season, which ended sourly with a loss to Bridgewater State in the Little East Conference Tournament Final. The 2-seeded Anchor women beat UMass Dartmouth 5-4 in the semifinal before falling to the Bears in the final 5-0. The men's soccer team will take the field on Saturday in what will be a de facto playoff game in their regular season finale. After defeating Southern Maine 5-0 this past weekend, the Anchormen sit in 5th place in the conference, 1 place outside the playoff picture. Jose Zaraga bagged a brace as the Anchormen ran wild over the Huskies, and Rick can overtake the final playoff spot this weekend with a win over UMass Boston. Kickoff in that one is at 1 o'clock at the Rhode Island College soccer field. For Anchor TV News Sports, I'm Jared Ware. Let's send it back to the desk.
Lou Reed, the punk poet of rock and roll, profoundly influenced the generations of musicians as a leader of the Velvet Underground and remained a vital solo performer for decades after, died Sunday at the age of 71. Reed died in Southampton, New York of an ailment related to his recent liver transplant. According to his literary agent, Andrew Wiley, who added that Reed had been in a frail health for months. Reed shared a home in Southampton with his wife and fellow musician Laurie Anderson, whom he married in 2008. Julianne Hough opted for a controversial Halloween costume this year, donning blackface while dressed up as a character from the hit series Orange is the New Black, at a Halloween party on Friday, October 25th. The 25-year-old actress was Suzanne Crazy Eyes Warren, portrayed by Uzo Abdullah. From the Netflix series, Julianne Hough apologized on Twitter for her Crazy Eyes costume on Saturday, October 26, writing, "I am a huge fan of the show, Orange is the New Black, actress Uzo Abdullah, and the character she has created. It certainly was never my intention to be disrespectful or demeaning to anyone in any way. I realize my costume hurt and offended people, and I truly apologize." An unnamed 15-year-old boy was punished after he used a phrase from a popular video game franchise, Madden Football. In his Majeretta Middle School football game, he claimed his friend sprinting downfield had "getting away from the cops" speed. Now, unless you suck, you can hear announcers in Madden claim this as your player sprints untouched past defenders. This was used in a real call by Gus Johnson during a Titans game versus the Jacksonville Jaguars, describing Chris Johnson in a sprint to the end zone. The boy has been punished by his school, but worse off, he has been threatened by others on Facebook with physical harm. Little man, you don't know me, and you probably never will, but I like your style. Now back to the desk with Elisha Kay Aldrich.
Thanks, Brett. That's it for this week's news. Please join us next week for another edition of Anchor TV News.